Simmer down, recenter.
Y'all, it caught my eye, and if they don't have my size, I'm gonna be so pissed.
I deserved a chair that fit. And so I am tired of trying to people please because it's a fruitless effort.
Glitter and Lasers, otherwise known as Anna, a popular YouTuber who mostly dabs in fashion, occasionally shares health updates and exercises she's doing. Anna could be described as bubbly, confident, entertaining, as well as entitled, disgenuine, dramatic. She even earned her own subreddit start page not too long ago. So, is the reason this fashion YouTuber gets so much criticism simply because of her weight? Is she being discriminated and treated differently purely and only because of the way she looks? Are all her recent controversies blowing up simply because people think she's fat? Well, no. Anna has been on social media for a long while now. Her most watched haul videos have reached millions of viewers years back. She is no stranger to the internet and how it works. She's far from her glory days now, but manages to pull numbers on the videos she produces and makes her living online. She is also no stranger when it comes to sponsored content. In fact, she has been shilling for better health and co-pilot on her most recent non-fashion related content. Who could blame her though? Who wouldn't appreciate extra cash coming their way in this economy? However, the problem comes in when the only reason she shares anything at all is to sell something to her audience. It's not a secret that her videos talking about her weight and health rack up way more views than her fashion content recently.
All hungry, we didn't really eat anything on the plane. So what did we do? We ordered room service. And you would think that's fairly safe. No. In fact, we all got food poisoning. You know, what comes up must come down. I was gross and I was really dehydrated. So I wasn't eating, but I was still trying to do everything, but I was sick as hell. And it got so bad that eventually when we got to Valencia, which was our second city, I was so dehydrated and so malnourished because I couldn't keep anything in that I literally passed out in bed for an entire day. And we were panicked that I may not recover without going to the hospital. So I had a tele-appointment with my doctor to try to figure out how to get better. And he was like, you're gonna need to see a Spanish doctor, which was also a nightmare. But I ended up drinking like a whole bunch of Gatorade. Really, like, Gatorade saved my life. So Gatorade, sponsor me, like, for real. But no, I survived on the Gatorade. And I thought I was better, right? After petting this horse, my eyes turned bright red. And slowly the whole, like, face like this was swollen. And especially on one side, it was so bad I, like, couldn't open my eye.
Anna manages to turn simple inconveniences into tales of resilience and bravery. She's certainly charismatic and tells her stories in a very colorful, entertaining manner that could potentially be entertaining for some. She experienced stomach issues and an allergic reaction on one of her trips to Europe. She translated those experiences into insurmountable obstacles, simply to shill for better health, which is a service that is questionable at best. Of course, this experience would have been absolutely crushing if it wasn't for the incredible thing that she is selling. BetterHelp has had its fair share of controversies for a good reason. Therapist Mickey Atkins made a video about her experience, which I recommend you watch if you want to know why I have a problem with that company in the first place. The fact that Anna is happy recommending it to a large audience while dressing it up as an honest, raw, and candid experience is a questionable choice. While the stories she shares about BetterHelp can be overlooked, the co-pilot narrative she's trying to portray are much harder to dismiss. She loves talking about her fitness journey. She eagerly shows her workouts, tells the audience about the massive milestones and big progress she's making, and she manages to omit the fact that she is losing weight with the help of medication. She frames her fitness videos in a very positive light. She credits all the improvements in mobility, flexibility, and strength to the program she's currently trying to sell to her audience.
I'm not on a diet. I don't restrict myself to a certain number of calories a day, but I do think about food as fuel. as my body is gaining more muscle and as it's changing literally, I just want to make sure that I maintain my muscle. And that's something that I talk to my doctor about a lot, is maintaining my muscle, because if I lose my muscle just to be smaller, then I'm taking away my strength, and I want to remain strong. I've also changed how I socialize. I used to go out to eat a lot, and I used to drink a lot. I think I've mentioned this in other videos. I really don't drink anymore. I don't try to go out to eat with friends as often. I try more to go on walks or hikes or adventures or explore. And that includes, like, when I see my family and friends, I'm planning more active activities. Alone, I needed a trainer. But I had a terrible experience with the trainer in the past, where he basically told me that I was lazy because I couldn't adjust my schedule to fit the very awkward times he had available, and therefore I was going to be a failure. And it made me feel like crap. With imagery and marketing that tells us that the reason we work out is to shrink ourselves, or the reasons that we move are to become some perpetual person that is worth more and better than we are right now. And this is the first fitness experience that I've personally had where that was not in the narrative at all. We never talked about my weight or my size. We did talk about my mobility.
After some criticism underneath that video, Anna finally caved in and replied. This is her reply. I'm seeing some very fiery comments about how I supposedly do not mention that I'm taking medication to help with my health journey. To be very clear, this video is not about weight loss, but rather my increase in flexibility, mobility, and strength. Have I also lost weight in the meantime? And things have improved? Sure. Am I taking medication that helps with weight loss? Yes. I've never denied that. Additionally, my change in weight is also due to treating several conditions, like Hashimoto's, genetic disorders, severe anemia, and chronic pain. Should I also list every single condition I live with, and every medication and treatment I use to manage them every time I post a video? Saying that works for me will also work for you feels unethical, especially given my own medical journey and how long it took me to get to this point. Instead, I have consistently said, go to your medical professional, work with them on a plan, and then together decide what will work best for you. If anything, a good doctor has more to do with my success than any medication. Also, very candidly, the medication I'm taking isn't magical. It won't make you stronger. It won't make you make good choices. You have to put in the work. And you have to hold yourself accountable. I deserve to celebrate my success, whether I use medication or not, and it's disappointing that I can't do that. Pretending like weight loss has nothing to do with the improvements in her overall health is the narrative that she is sticking to very firmly. After all, admitting and even mentioning weight at all would be a very bad look while trying to advocate for a sponsor who claims to be completely body neutral and weight loss medication does not fit the aesthetic and overall vibe of this particular product. She is very defensive, and it doesn't appear that she takes criticism kindly, however justified it might be. She points out that she's not allowed to be proud of herself and goes on a full rampage in a very defensive manner. She of course doesn't forget to mention that the medicine is not a magical cure for it all. She is still working very hard, which I don't doubt, although she lost around 80 pounds in a year with aid of this medication, all the fitness apps, and all the support. So whether it's a lot of weight to lose or not in a year, that is not up to me to decide.
Delicious. It is a passion fruit popsicle or a paleta de parcha. Woo! I nailed it. I'm working on my Spanish and it's getting better.
Christmas is you. I feel like I'm being like, bam. Okay, what we got? All I want for Christmas is you.
You're so beautiful, but you need to lose weight to be healthy. And Apollo was like, oh my God. And I was like, it's fine. I'm on the internet. People say that to me every day. I'm used to it.
She loves to portray herself as this incredibly bubbly, loud, and confident person. It is clear she loves to be the center of attention from the way she presents herself, the bold fashion choices, daring colors, and adventurous demeanor. She surrounds herself with positivity and doesn't appreciate negative comments. As I mentioned briefly, her comment section is closely monitored and moderated heavily. However, Sometimes we get glimpses of her entitled side.
About the most expensive dinner I've ever been to in my life at a Michelin star restaurant that I had to get reservations for like 4 months in advance. So I was like super hyped on this dinner. And we get there and I go to sit down and the chairs are tiny and they have arms. And I was like, no problem. It's okay. I'll just ask for another chair. So I'm like, excuse me, ma'am, like, this chair is not going to work for me. And honestly, with what I was paying for this dinner, I deserved a chair that fit. Like, this was not like, fancy McDonald's. This was like a nice ass meal. So I deserved a nice chair. And so she's like, hold on, we'll get you another chair. Proceeds to bring me a slightly bigger chair, still with arms. And I'm like, ma'am. She's like, will this work for you? And I'm like, ma'am, we said the problem was arms on the side. This does not solve the problem. And she's like, oh, well, this is the only chair we have. And I would literally look at him like, are you telling me you don't have one chair in this super expensive fancy restaurant or in the, like around it that doesn't have arms? And she's like, yes, ma'am, sorry. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't know if you guys have ever done this. If you're a thick girl, you know this, where like half your butt is on the back of the chair and then you're just like free floating forward. So it looks like you're sitting, but really you're balancing. And did I want to balance for a 9-course meal that was likely to take 3 to 4 hours? Hell no. But did I want to be at this dinner? Well, also kind of no, because again, I'm sunburned, I have a stomach issue, and my eye is swollen. But damn it, I hadn't been able to do so many things that day that I was gonna do this.
An exclusive European restaurant does not owe her a chair that she can fit into. Having a body that is not average is not a problem. Feeling entitled and demanding to be catered to is. She appears simply spoiled and disrespectful. It's difficult to watch some of these clips and see the person that she wants the audience to see. The now deleted Target video has caused a great deal of controversy, yet it was absolutely swept under the carpet despite preaching of accountability and honesty as part of her online persona.
Why? Why so much hat? Y'all, it caught my eye, and if they don't have my size, I'm gonna be so pissed. Part of me looks like, this is the one I wanted, but of course, not my size. I mean, it looks very stretchy though, but I'm gonna let the sweater live its best life. Not on me. Also, why do they make all this cute ass kid clothes and none of it in my size? That's all I wanna say. Theme of this video, it's not my size. Nothing's in my size. They look terrible. I'm gonna help my girls out. They look absolutely horrific. Like, what is this? This girl has a beanie on too. It's so bad. What are these shoes? Give me that. Give me that. There's a Target person like right across the way, and I'm just having to pretend like nothing's happening. But I gotta help the girl out. She looks rough.
As you can see, Anna manages to offend herself, simply because a chain store doesn't carry unconventional sizes. She undresses a mannequin and puts different clothes on it, not to mention absolutely destroying every single piece of folded clothing and dumping it back on a shelf without a thought. People often say that you can tell a person's character on how they treat a waiter at a restaurant. And this kind of behavior and disrespecting people's work is very similar to that sentiment. I don't think anybody expects her to fold it perfectly and put it back on a shelf, but perhaps not disrupting an entire pile somebody else folded and put their time into would be a nice start. At this point, she's between 300 to 400 pounds and is clearly irritated that this basic chain store doesn't carry her sizes. The choices that led her to be this size are the real culprit, and she is not the only person in the world who cannot shop at conventional clothing stores. Some people are too short, some people are too tall. Some have very long arms or legs, whatever it might be. Most corporations will cater to the majority to maximize their profits, while calling for more inclusivity is understandable. Getting angry at a simple fact of life is unreasonable.
How much I allow other people's opinions to shape me. And I know, oh God, I know that on the internet, we love to say like, just ignore it, girl. They're all haters. Haters are your secret motivators and all of this stuff. And I get it. I get we want to be positive about what is really a bad situation. But for me, what I've really had to do personally is like just detach from that world. So rather than turning into it, I don't let those things become any part of my personal narrative. No choice I've made in my life is because somebody else told me I should. And I think it's really, really important, because then at the end of the day, when I question the choices I've made, I'm sitting alone with myself. And I have to acknowledge my choices and my decisions, and there's nowhere to place the blame.
In other words, Anna is not really willing to take on criticism, constructive or otherwise, which is really her choice to make. There are many different ways to cope with adverse situations, and she is choosing avoidance at all cost. Slowly but surely, she's carving her own spot in the girlverse, along Amberlynn and others.